Hello friends, in this video we are going to do the analysis of a company which is one of the market leaders in mobility technology sector in India, and that's KPIT Technologies. Before we begin, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe right now, as you will get a lot of interesting analysis videos, and do consider joining a community where we are discussing a lot of interesting stock specific views and market analysis on a daily basis. And you can follow me on Telegram, Twitter and Instagram as well. And let's get started. So KPIT Technologies is a technology company which is focused on a niche area of mobility, that is related to the automobile sector. So this company is focused on reimagining the mobility. That means they are working on futuristic technologies in the automobile sector. They are building different softwares, platforms, accelerators and different technologies focused on passenger and commercial vehicles. And this is a global company, as they have offices and subsidiary companies across the globe, and they are delivering services, a majority of their services outside India. Nowadays, they are working on, in fact, the entire industry is working on latest technologies like artificial intelligence, big data, and digital services which are deployed in the vehicles. And these technologies will enable people, because everybody wants safer, cleaner, and smarter vehicles. So these technologies will help us achieve that goal. The future of this company is tied up to the performance and the growth of the mobility sector or the auto sector. This company focuses on a bunch of their strategic clients, and 85% of their revenue comes from those strategic clients, and in total they have around 55 clients. So let's discuss about the promoters and founders of this company. There are two founders. So the first co-founder is he's also the chairman of the company, is Mr. Ravi Pandit. He is the group CEO, as this company has various other associated companies as well. So Mr. Ravi Pandit is the group CEO. By qualification, he is a fellow chartered accountant and a cost and works accountant. He has been very instrumental in bringing the company to the present level and making the company vertically focused on the mobility sector. He also holds a degree of Masters in Management from Sloan School of Management, which is MIT Cambridge, which is a globally known university. He has won several awards and he has been heading different associations nationally. And this is about Mr. Ravi Pandit. Coming to the next co-founder is Mr. Kishore Patil, who is also a cost accountant and a fellow chartered accountant by profession. So they both of them hold two professional degrees, which shows the credibility of the promoters of this company. He heads the overall management and he's responsible for managing the entire company on a day-to-day basis. Under his leadership, till now, the company has filed more than 60 plus patents and 100 plus intellectual property rights. He also has won several national and international awards, and he has been speaker at various global forums like World Economic Forum. Let's understand the journey of this company till now, which is pretty interesting. There are two major instances which have happened during the lifetime of this company. So in 1990, this company was co-founded by Mr. Ravi and Mr. Patil. In 1999, they bought an IPO of the original KPIT Technologies, which was subscribed 50 times. In 2002, Cummins got, the other world famous company, Cummins got interested in this company, and Cummins Infotech, which was the IT business of Cummins, was merged into KPIT, and the company's name was changed to KPIT Cummins Infosystems Limited. This happened in 2002. In 2013, what happened? The name again got changed back to KPIT Technologies Limited. Why does this happen? Because Cummins thought that they will focus on their core business and they reduced their stake in KPIT Technologies. In 2018, another group, which is of Birlasoft, they merged their company with KPIT Technologies, and immediately after the merger, both the companies demerged. Now, why did this happen? Because both the businesses were combined, and then in a proper way they were separated. One was focused on the regular IT business and another company was focused on specific niche technology business which is related to mobility. So the regular IT business was called Birlasoft and the mobility technology business was called KPIT Technologies after the demerger, and accordingly the shareholders were given their respected shares. In 2019, after the demerger, KPIT Technologies Limited got listed on BSE and NSE, and they had completely done their rebranding. What are the different focus verticals of this company? Broadly, they are dividing their business into three verticals. First one is passenger cars. In passenger cars, they are working on cars, in the sense it's not just cars, the passenger segment. They are working on new technologies relating to the electric powertrain. This is one of their major businesses. Autonomous driving, this is driverless vehicles. When we say driverless vehicles, we shouldn't think of an extreme wherein the entire car is driven by itself without a driver. But when we talk about automation, it could be part automation also, wherein there are latest technologies where automatic brakes and automatic steering and such technologies which supplement the normal driving capabilities, digital cockpit and diagnostic domain. So these are the first focus area of passenger car segment. The second segment which is now picking up is related to the commercial and off-highway vehicles. So this is a relatively new focus areas, and they are also working on automation and safety features of these segments. Apart from this, new segment called the new mobility segment is one of their verticals, wherein they work on newer technologies related to mobility, which is like car sharing and other new age mobility technologies. This is a very small portion of the revenue. We'll see the revenue breakup in the coming slides. Let's understand the business model. They help their customers to go from the design stage or research stage of a technology till the solution or product is manufactured and implemented. So they provide end-to-end services. They specialize in softwares, application softwares and different stages of softwares like middleware and device drivers. When we talk about software development, they do the entire life cycle right from the prototype development to deployment till testing. And they have spent a lot of years in invested a lot of years and money in developing new technologies, wherein they have some tools which they internally use, which help them to deliver the services to their customers pretty faster. When we talk about different partnerships, there are globally different companies which are partnering with KPIT Technologies. A couple of them I have mentioned here. One is Eaton. So this company has partnered with KPIT to develop next generation electrified mobility technology, so related to the electric vehicles. And Volkswagen has approved KPIT's AUTOSAR stack. So a couple of partnerships just for your understanding. Now, if you see the revenue by verticals, 76% of the revenue is coming from the passenger car segment and 22% from the commercials, and the new mobility sector is slowly picking up about 2%. This is for Q3 FY21. If you see the revenue by practices, powertrain is their main source of revenue for about 43%. The advanced driver assistance systems, ADAS, that is one form of service which they render. So that contributes to 19%. This is related to the driver assistance systems or automated driving. Connected vehicles contributes about 10% and other services about 28%. If you see by geography, US accounts for almost 41% of their revenue, Europe 44%, and rest of the world about 15%. Now let's understand the market and the industry in which this company operates and what are the major trends going on in the industry. If you see the lightweight vehicles or the passenger vehicles, globally there was a sudden slowdown due to the COVID, but slowly this segment is picking up, and people are now, due to safety reasons, preferring their own personal vehicle, which is giving a huge boost in terms of pickup and sales to this sector. Commercial vehicles, if we see, commercial vehicles are being used by different industries. So some industries are doing pretty well, some industries are not doing so well. So there's a mixed response or growth in the commercial vehicle segment. The major trends in this industry like digitalization, electrification, autonomous driving, these kind of trends still continue. The research still continues, the deployment still continues, but it has slowed down a little due to the COVID situation. If you see the outlook, within 10 years, almost all cars in the advanced countries will have different connectivity features. If you see the autonomous cars penetration, in the next 15 to 20 years, the industry expects about 5% to 26% penetration in the autonomous vehicles. If you see the electrical cars, they are expecting a penetration of about 35% to 45% in the coming future. Practically, if you see, now cars are not just simple machines. They are being developed like computers on wheels. So lot of things are being automated and software driven. Who could be the competitors of this company? Bosch is one of the competitors, Tata Elxsi, LTTS, Tech Mahindra, Delphi Technologies, Autoliv. I have also mentioned some competitors which are global competitors and not just in India, since this company is a global company. What could be the different competitive advantages or economic moat which this company might have? There's a policy in the company, or there's a practice which they are focusing on, where they are trying to give their customers zero defect delivery right in the first deliverable. So that gives this company a lot of confidence and the customers lot of confidence in this company. This company has leadership position in this niche. So this is one competitive advantage. They have invested more than 15 years of time, effort and technology in developing different technologies in this sector, which gives them an edge over newcomers or other players in this industry. And they have strong partnerships, relations and understandings with their key strategic customers, which contribute 85% of their revenue. So that stickiness gives them a competitive advantage. Over a period of time, they have filed different patents and other intellectual properties, which gives them an edge over the others. And even today, they are working on futuristic technologies and making a better company and better technologies, which gives them an edge over the others. What could be the different growth prospects going further? Their core focus still continues on their strategic customers, which contribute, as we have discussed, majority of the revenue. They are focusing on autonomous driving and electric powertrains. These are their fastest growing segments. They are trying to make vehicles cleaner, safer, smarter, and for the future. They have filed in financial year 24 patents, and they got 6 patents granted in financial year 20. The entire sector, I feel, is become very disruptive. As if you see 5 years before and now, the quality of vehicles and the technology which we use in the vehicles is completely changed, and 5 years from now I feel it will be a complete disruption. So the sector will experience a lot of tailwinds, and this company will be benefited by that. They are right now working on newer fuel technologies like hydrogen, electric and hydrogen and fossil fuels. So just to give you an idea what kind of technologies this company develops and what are the types of patents they are filing. One of the patents they have filed is about automatic emergency braking. So the vehicle stops automatically if there is any obstruction. Another example could be steering of a vehicle whenever there is a expectation of a collision. So the vehicle steers itself automatically. Intelligent humidifier system for fuel cells, hybrid vehicles, light detection and vehicles deduction on the way. So these kind of technologies they are developing and they are filing patents for these. So now you know how futuristic this company is. What could be the possible risks which this company might face? Autonomous vehicles or this industry in general is thought as if it's like a cyclical industry. A few years this industry does well and few years it does not. That could be a risk. But there is a lot of disruption going on in this industry, though if this company is not able to maintain that newer technologies, it could be a risk. Their concentration of revenue on those key strategic customers, along with being a good point, it could be a risk also. If as one customer goes, a lot of revenue could be affected. There is competition within India and globally, and their profitability depends on the spending plans of the automotive sector. Economic and political risk, like any other company, retention of top talent as they are dependent on their top key employees for research. Customer relationships are very important, and as their revenue is from outside India, forex risks. Now coming to the financials, first we'll discuss the quarter results. The recent quarter in Q3 FY21 compared to the year-on-year results, their revenue was down about 6%, EBITDA was up 10% to 81 crore. EBITDA margin increased to 15.8%, profit after tax was 43 crores, up by 5%, and profit after tax margin was 8.1%. So in terms of profits and margins, the result was better. Year-on-year revenue was kind of flat, but quarter-on-quarter revenue was much better. If you see the revenue from operations, I'm analyzing only 3 years data here, because prior to that the company structure was different. So from FY20, FY19 the revenue has gone up, and in the trailing 12 months the revenue is about 2000 crores. Profit after tax is about 131 crores, which is growing steadily. EBITDA margin is growing steadily to 15.8% recently. Profit after tax margin has gone up to 8.1%. The debt is reducing and the company is on the verge of becoming a debt-free company, or if you see the net debt, it's almost a debt-free company already. If you understand the shareholding pattern, the promoters hold about 42% of the stake, FII is 20%, DII is 15%, and others, the general public, about 22%. So there's good holding of DIIs and FIIs, which gives us confidence of investing in this company. But the promoters have a pledge of 18%. Hopefully that should become zero in the coming future. Coming to the other financial highlights, equity is consistent, the reserves are growing fast, long-term borrowings are zero, short-term borrowings about just 18 crores. But they have a cash balance of about 648 crores, so borrowings don't make any difference. Remuneration to whole-time directors is about 11 crores in FY20. Free cash flows of FY20 are about 320 crores, which is very impressive. The stat auditors of this company are BSR and Company, which is one of the big four firms, and there are no suspicious related party transactions in FY20. Coming to the ratios, ROE is about 17.4, ROC 19.37, which is pretty good. As we have discussed, the profit margins are good at 15.8 and 8.1 profit after tax. Dividend yield is 0.7. It's a growing company, but the management is expecting that they will give better dividends going further as they have become very cash rich. Now coming to the valuations part, the last trading price is about 142, 52-week high and low is 34 to 148. In the last 1 year, the stock has given a return of about 43%. Market cap is just 3,900 crores. PE ratio is 30. Industry P is 33. EPS is about 4.8. Book value is 38 and price book ratio is 3.7. So in terms of valuation, as of now, it looks a little overpriced, but if the present growth rate is maintained, the valuation will soon become a fair valuation. If you see the price chart, there is one small support around 123 rupees and the next support is at around 105 rupees. At 105, the PE ratio comes to about 22. So I feel if someone wants to get into the stock, he can get in somewhere around 105. Coming to the recent news and announcements, the company has reduced the employee count compared to last year from 7,300 to 6,152, but fresh hiring has begun. So this could be a conservative way to save costs during the COVID time. And the company is looking for niche acquisitions in their sector. The shareholders might be rewarded by better dividends going further as the cash position has become much better. So this is about KPIT Technologies. I hope you like the analysis and this gives you a lot of clarity and confidence in investing in this company. I hope you take the right decision of investing in this stock. So to summarize, I find the promoters and co-founders very competent, qualified, and the leadership team very good. They are working on some technologies which are very disruptive. The sector is very good, so the sector will give a lot of tailwinds to this company. Fundamentals are quite strong and they are becoming better as they go further. The company is continuously working on newer technologies, which is a good sign. The management is a visionary management and they are working on new fuels and other aspects, and the client relationships are maintained pretty well. There could be a couple of things to be kept in mind, as this industry could be cyclical, global competition could be a hurdle, and concentration of revenue on selected customers could be a little risk. Valuation wise, it looks slightly expensive and any dip could be used as a purchase, as we have discussed the levels. So that is about KPIT Technologies. I hope you like the video. Please share your feedback in the comments below and do join the community where we discuss a lot of interesting stuff. Subscribe to my channel to keep watching such new videos. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you get to know immediately when I upload a new video. Follow me on the social media channels. Thank you for sparing so much time in watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful day.